Well, Dale McIntosh, head coach at Pontypridd RFC. We're here in the AS John room, which is a rather nice a player's room. Now, I can't imagine Pontypridd without Chief, but of course, a lot of supporters will be wondering where you started, where you came from. Where did you play your rugby? I mean, how did you get into rugby in the first place? Where have you come from? Where did you start out?
I was actually born in a place called Turangi, which is in the middle of the North Island of New Zealand. It's a province of King Country. I then moved to Taupo, which was across the lake, and I just pretty much just started playing JEB at the age of 5. And as a normal young Maori kid in New Zealand, just got stuck in and progressed. Believe it or not, I was a inside centre right up to I was 13, and I played for Hawke's Bay with a young All Black named John Timu, who was outside centre. I then progressed to a school called St Stephen's, which was probably one of the most significant changes of my life in Cornster rugby, because it was a renowned rugby school. It was a Māori boys' college, steeped in tradition, and that's pretty much where I grew as a young boy into a man. And they were hard times. The school's actually closed down now for bullying reasons. It was a tough school, very tough school. As well as as good as it was as a rugby phenomenon, it was a really, really tough school, and as I say, there's a lot of bullying going on there, and you had to be pretty much at the top of your game and a very strong character to survive there. Fortunately, I was that, and that definitely taught me to respect people, to respect life in general, and to pretty much back my corner, you know. So.
And what brought you? I mean, what brought you from there to the shores of Pontypridd, as it were?
Well, I played my first senior game when I was 14. Funny enough, the age grade laws back there were pretty flexible and simple. If you're tough enough, you're old enough, and I then played senior rugby with Kerry Jones and Gavin Jenkins, who obviously at the time were playing for Pontypridd. That was 86/87, so I was 16 years of age, 16 going on 17. At the time, I just finished school, and I remember Kerry Jones saying, you know, I'm going back as captain of Pontypridd. Would you like to come back and play? I've always been kind of believe it or not, a Māmi's boy, and I thought, oh, hang about, that's a long old haul over there, but I was quite comfortable that Kerry and Gavin would look after me. So a couple of years later, in '89, I decided to take the big journey across the sea with and hook up with my two mates again.
And you never really looked back from there?
No, I remember coming in this club as a young fella, as a young 18-year-old, and walking through. I had a new bomber jacket, big leather bomber jacket with all sheep's fur, and cost me a fortune. I really thought I was the bee's knees in it, you know. And I walked through the door, and Di Thomas was the first guy I seen, and he said, "Oh, who the bloody hell's this?" And my brother had previously been here, Shane, and when he was good friends with Shane, so he thought, okay. And we became friends straight away, and guys like Phil John and Steele Lewis and Baz were all here, and I don't know, it was just like home away from home, you know, and I knew I was in the right place straight away, you know, and as I say, it's just been a great affiliation since.
And fond memories of those players. Any players that stick out in the memory? Any memories that really, the sweet sort of memories that stick with you?
Again, I was just a young man, you know, and I come over here and just work my cogs off and try to play with pride and passion for the jersey, and that was for that season. And then all of a sudden we went on tour to Virginia Beach, and I got to know the boys, you know, as you would your own family and brothers, and it was remarkable experience for me. You know, as I say, as a young kid, I didn't mind a few beers and a night out, and just huge characters, and we had some great times on that tour. And I think, you know, we bonded sincerely, the guys like myself and Phil John and Stella and Bez, as I say, and that was pretty much the senior spinal cord of the side then. And then come back, and this young ginger kid had been hitting the headlines, and whom I had actually met, or, you know, had a few beers with in the previous year, because we were relatively near enough the same age. So yeah, he was in the headlines, and all of a sudden he come into our remit, and again, you know, a legend in the making, and a legend, one of the biggest legends ever to play the game.
Absolutely, and we all know who that was as well. Of course, for the supporters who are not so sure who this young ginger kid was, because he hasn't got any hair anymore, is he? Jenks himself. So you're moving to coaching. I mean, supporters will slay me for not asking any more questions, but I'm sure we can save that for another day. You're moving to coaching, and most recently into head coach. What was the how did that come about, being built up? How did you discover that you had this talent and passion for leading because you were obviously captain for a long time, but what was the segue into doing this?
It's tough, isn't it? You know, you feel your way into coaching, and I kind of I feel I'm a very honest person. You know, I've got relatively good man management skills, and I'd like to think I know a lot about the game. You know, sometimes people question that, but I'm always looking for, you know, for shortcuts. I'm always looking for ways of improving, both on and off the pitch. And I just thought, you know, Pontypridd going into the semi-professional era, that perhaps need a not so much a general, but some kind of guidance, some kind of pathway. And Johnsy and I were retiring at the time. Kingy and Justin Bennell had the reins at the time, and I just thought that it was the right place to be, and because it was a place I didn't want to leave, obviously that was a natural progression.
And of course, Johnsy was sort of head coach for a while, or backs coach, and you were forwards and assistant coach, and you've taken a switch this season, of course, because Johnsy's time with Wales Sevens has become more and more pressing. And how do you differ in sort of man management styles and your coaching technique? Is there because they've seen a lot more. I don't know the style. We've won six set of the last. We've won 7 games, I think, so far. Is it 6 or 7?
I'm not sure.
All games, put it that way. We've won all our games, so obviously there's something there, I guess.
I don't think a lot's changed from last year. In all fairness to Johnsy had to make the change. It didn't really bother me, because in all fairness, we're very good friends. People say we're good cop, bad cop, but that's not the case. We're very appreciative of each other's skills as coaches, and we do listen to each other. And in all fairness, we're always straight down the middle anyway. With Johnsy's other commitments of the Sevens, it was only fair that he needed to spend time with his family, and for that reason, I took up the reins. But not a lot has changed. They're different. What's changed? I stayed on a different side of the changing rooms. We still do the same consulting before training. We still reflect and review after training. Nothing's changed at all, you know. It just so happens that we've got a good squad this year. We've got a large squad this year. And, you know, we've learned from the past. It's a matter of trying to manage players and keeping them as fit as possible. With the added youngsters coming through, you know, I think we've blooded about 4, 5, 17-year-olds. People say it's a risk. Well, I promise you I don't take many risks in Pontypridd. I know these players, I know how tough they are, and I know these kids have watched Pontypridd since they were 5, 6 years of age. And although they might look moderate players elsewhere, once they put their Pontypridd jersey on, they're men, men twice over. So I trust them, they trust me, and that's been a bit of a secret to our success. It also keeps these more experienced fellas on their toes, knowing that these youngsters are coming through. And it's just making sure we get that balance right, and more importantly, we're managing the squad so that we can adhere to all three competitions.
And it keeps everyone honest as well, I guess.
Yeah, it does. The environment honest. A big thing for us was at the end of last season, we had a couple of senior players come to us, Krista Gamidas, Gavin Dacey, and said, we've slipped in our ethics a bit. Our training, being late to training, people not going to the games if they're not involved. We've always been very, very close, and we had to kind of readdress ourselves and reflect on that, and we've made a huge effort to put things back in order off the pitch, and I just believe it's transferred into our game.
Great, and of course, your future aspirations for Pontypridd and for the game and for your career. Is there anything we can expect from Dale McIntosh yet?
Look, I never think too far ahead, I'm just happy to be where I am. I'm chuffed a bit for Pontypridd at the moment, and the important thing is not only are we winning, we're also developing youngsters who all their lives just wanted to play for Pontypridd, and that's a huge satisfying fact for myself and for Johnsy. Young Corey Hill, he's lived up the top of this hill for all his life, and he's looked down on us. I remember Corey Hill after the cup final against Swansea jumping up on my cheek and kissing me, and I didn't know it was Corey Hill until his father told me, and I remembered him like it was yesterday, and I thought, now the kid's out there playing for Pontypridd, and what a great satisfaction. So future aspirations are just to try and keep doing well, making sure that Pontypridd's always a vessel for young kids to grow and become men and good people and good rugby players. And as far as rugby is concerned, if I'm lucky enough or fortunate enough to have the opportunity to progress into regional rugby, I'd have to think that carefully, but I don't think about that at this time of moment. As I say, I'm just chuffed to be here, and I just hope we keep progressing and doing well.
Well, Chief, you've built a phenomenal squad this season. What can only be described as such strength and depth, and I wish you all the very best for the season. Pub luck. Good.